y'all. He ain't got no daddy. What am I? What are these nuts do?
This guy in an obnoxious yellow cigarette boat with like American flags, and he just stands up and he just salutes.
I wake up, I go to job, I come home, I watch Netflix.
On the way to the airport, he goes, you want to fly over Kid Rock's house? Absolutely. You don't ask me that. Yes.
The next day, their bird crashed into the Hudson River and 5 people died. The same helicopter that I was on.
I met him on an elevator. He said, I feel bad for you. You want to know what I said back to him? I don't even think about you.
Wow, are we glad you're here. Welcome to Man vs. Morning. Thank you for being here. And today I am joined by my beautiful co-hosts, Nolan the Sandalorian, Tackett the Tactician, and our special guest, Kingsley Aloysius Penderhoos III.
I was waiting for you to mess that up.
Yeah.
And you did a fantastic job.
So good.
Thank you guys. I'm so glad I got that.
We sat down to film our first episode, and like the first thing that he did was like, "Hi."
Yeah, a totally 16-year-old overexcited.
So stoned.
Hi, everybody. Wow.
Yeah, it was so dumb, but
What's up, everyone?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hey guys.
Oh my gosh.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
You gotta hit the hey guys.
Yeah. Hey guys.
My oldest kid does that. Hey guys.
Yeah.
She makes fun of me. She's like, you're a streamer and you're 40? And I was like, first of all,
Oh, she's throwing shade.
I was like, first of all,
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what your friends told you.
Super cool, Dad.
And I told her, I was like, you make sure that you tell your friends that your dad's cool. And so she'll like come back and like,
That's what makes her cooler.
Yeah.
If she tells her friends that my dad is
well,
cool,
what she does is
She can't say it to you.
she slanders me in front of her friends.
Right.
And yeah.
Right. So kids, you're streaming. Are you streaming out of the house? How do you balance all
Yeah, so I have my office / arms room is in my basement.
Okay.
And initially I started streaming after SHOT Show last year.
Okay.
And it was okay. My schedule was a little different, but it was hard to stay consistent.
Yeah.
Whereas now, 9 p.m., it's right after I put the youngest one to bed.
Yeah.
We have dinner, spend time with the family, and then at 9 o'clock, I stream.
Where do
And
you find the energy for that, though? Aren't you exhausted by 9
So
p.m.
here's-
as a
here's-
father? Because I am.
I am. Here's
He's like
my goal.
52 years old.
You
he looks great for 78.
yeah.
Black does
Well,
not crack.
there's a joke in my stream that I'm 60-something years old. I'm really not. I'm a young, vibrant man.
I think you already said it. You already said you're 40.
Did I say it?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not 40.
I did not think
Yet.
you were 40, bro. I thought you
you.
were in your late 20s.
Thank you. I appreciate
Black
that.
doesn't crack. This is like a known thing.
It's real.
Does in the intercities.
That's a different kind of crack.
All right.
But so my goal is when I first started with social media, it was kind of like just like something I did as a creative outlet, just for fun.
Yeah.
And then once I realized the potential and what I could do as far as earning and passive income and creating a spot where I can make this a job,
Yeah.
if you're going to do the work, you're going to be successful. And so my thing is, no matter how tired I am or no matter like how busy the day's been, even if I only stream for 15 minutes, my thing is that I need to have that consistency because now I'm not just KingPixMedia on Instagram where you can comment on the video.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting here and I literally talk to my chat.
Yeah.
And so it's become a part of my day now. Like my days are kind of long, but it's because I tack on my social media stuff at the very end or at the end or throughout the day. And honestly, man, I wouldn't be here without that drive. I wouldn't, know you guys or I wouldn't have done Texas Range Day without that. So my thing is that I don't mind working. I even told Nolan when I show up here, I don't mind hitting the ground running. He was talking about, you guys just mentioned running the gamut and doing all the shows and doing all the things. I'm all for it. You guys know I've had a long day. It's
the longest day ever.
It's been a long day.
It's 28 hours.
Some
Most
say
days
the
are 24.
longest day. It's been a long day, but the whole goal behind me, really working with people that I know and doing these things is to get to a point to where I can, make money doing it and then be able to do more. So the idea is, work while you can, do as much as you can. I write, I have a little notebook. I write skits and everything, throughout the day. And the ends justify the means. So it's like, I might be tired. I might take a day or two off, but ultimately I just do it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
that's
far,
the mindset. I mean, that is truly the mindset, especially when you're kind of looking for what your niche is and you're looking for what really is working for you.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I've told so many guys that. And there's one guy, Jay Wolf. He's just a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And
That boy.
yeah, he's
Big boy.
Yeah, he
Big boy.
It's just I finally saw him start to make regular posts, and I've just been so glad to see that, because for the longest time I know he's like most people. Hey, that sounds interesting. How do you do that? What do I got to do? And I just told him, you just got to start, man.
Well, I talked to him
You
when
know?
we were in Nashville last because he stayed. I think he stayed with Mike.
Yeah.
But we were all kind of hanging out, and we went to. I think the day I flew in, we went to like a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And he and I sat at the end of the table, and I asked him, I was like, "What do you do like outside of content?" And he was telling me, and I was like, "He's got a rough job,
Dude.
He's
Dude.
What does he do?
So he runs like basically his family business. I can't.
construction.
It's
Oh,
construction.
really? I just know
concrete.
him from like bumping
Either
into him at
construction
events
or
and
it's
stuff.
concrete.
It's
It's backbreaking linear is what it is.
It's crazy. And he was telling me about that, and he was talking about streaming. I'll stream. My longest stream was like 2.5 hours, and that's because we were watching Trump's address. We were watching it live.
Yeah.
And
We'll do it live.
I'll normally stream about an hour, and he was like, "No, he's like streamers stream for like 6 to 8 hours,
Well, that was my next question: is what's your regular sort of
Bro.
run time?
an hour."
An hour?
Right? I get to an hour, and that's when it's like I start to. I don't like to sit still because it benefits me to stream, and it's fun to kind of talk to some of the regulars in the chat. But I get to a point where it's like, all right, now I'm sitting still, and we'll watch videos. I'll do reaction stuff. I'll filter in videos throughout the day and just save them to watch. And once
That's a good idea.
Once I go through all the videos that I've watched or that I have saved to watch, it's like, all right, guys. And I'll literally say it's been an hour. I'm going upstairs to hang out with my wife. Because my wife, she'll be up till about 10:30 or 11.
Yeah.
So if I end it at 10, I go up. We have we have this thing where we just kind of catch up for the week every single day, and we just do daily updates. And that's the priority.
Well, they say that if you don't do that with a spouse,
Yeah.
that it's actually really bad for the relationship.
Learn that one the hard way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Learn that one the hard way.
Dude, just simple communication
Yeah.
is wildly.
Dude, we'll be
Prosperous.
married. We hit 18 years this summer.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man.
So
That's a big deal, dude. That's a long time.
it is a long time. It's a very long
So we're
time.
not doing the segment "My Bitch Ex-Wife"
Yeah,
with Kingsley.
No.
Kingsley's good.
No.
He's
no,
good.
No exes here.
Okay.
Kingsley has an angel wife.
What's your focus when you stream? Is it like political stuff? Is it like
My angel current wife.
top and military stuff? Is it just kind of all over the place?
It's kind of all over the place, but what has been the flavor of the month lately has been, I definitely do a lot of the political stuff, but I try to broaden it and look at it sounds stupid, but geopolitics.
Yeah.
So the big thing now, I got the chocolate chip combat hoodie in from my buddy Dave over at Oscar 4 Fox.
Yeah.
So chocolate chip, you got to bring up Gaddafi. so of course
I bet that started getting a little spicy.
it did. I mean,
Did you get a bunch of gold, like fake gold bars?
I want to. I want to. That's a good idea. Write
so
that
spicy
down.
about
Can you write that down for later?
Jot that down.
sorts of
Chase.
stuff.
I mean, other than the fact that he was spicy.
Well, I started bringing up about like how Libya and the irrigation and how they like the dude. He did a lot of really great things for Libya.
Yeah, so does ISIS.
Well,
They do great things. They build roads, and
that's
hospitals.
That's true.
It's just 50%.
There was a great Austrian painter once.
But when
It's
you
such a bright future ahead of the
when you
boy.
look at what he was moving towards before Hillary, that's the kind of stuff that we talk.
No,
about.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's I'm very into
And
that.
so-
We had a habitual line crosser on recently.
Yeah.
We got kind of into it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he covers a lot of that with his comedy.
Exactly.
And I think there's a way to do it where people
Well,
can get it and enjoy it.
So I'll pull up a picture, and the picture I pulled up because that Gaddafi had drip. You know what I'm saying?
he
The
did.
dude could dress.
The sunglasses
And and so
And the
his,
dress.
with the choco chip.
his security element was like these females.
They were like 6'9". Like there was like a
Amazonian?
requirement.
Amazon princesses?
Amazonian women.
This one
For
woman
real? This is
Yes.
real?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Gaddafi was Elvis in the Middle East. He was a hard dude.
See, you would be entertained by this because I pulled up a picture of this woman and
I've never heard of this.
she was in full chocolate chip camo, carrying I think she was carrying an MP5. It was either an MP5 or an Uzi.
She got that junk in the trunk though. In the camo.
They're a little
in the
tall.
BDU.
There's only one trunk for me.
Right.
There's only one trunk for me. I'm not a window shopper, so
Right.
You're just no comment at that. What a good man. That's how you did 18 years. Look at you. Look at you. That's advice right there. Oh, you got Amazonian Gaddafi
like
women?
this kind of thing going.
that was the picture I pulled up. So I was like, here you got Diana Ross in chocolate chip camo.
She got an MP5 going too.
Yeah.
What is that?
So
Crazy.
full makeup, full hair done and everything. And so I brought that up, and then that actually bled into I'm doing a hoodie giveaway.
Okay.
So I talked to Dave. I was like, hey Dave, I talked about this chocolate chip hoodie.
Yeah.
I want to give away a hoodie and then one of my CSGI shirts that I've worked on with Bunker.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff like I'll talk about it and then I'll kind of tie it in, and then they'll crack jokes, I'll crack jokes, and then we'll just. It's like an ADHD rant is the best way to describe it.
How do you not go into that if you're doing that on a stream? I mean, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous photo.
What's funny is
It's amazing.
That's an outrageous photo.
Pete Hegseth
You
is
have
kind
to
of
send
doing
that
that
to
now.
Chase.
I already did.
Yeah, have you seen Pete Hegseth's female guards outside the airplanes?
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did
Twitter
see
ripped
that.
into that real hard.
Yeah.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
Now I don't consume a lot of content, and
That's for the better.
a lot of people
watch the show.
that create content, they either get inspiration or they compare themselves to other people's content. And I might scroll here and there, but ultimately I'm trying to kind of carve out a path for myself and make myself relevant to where I can come onto a show like this and it's actually entertaining. It's not just more of the same. And I'm not saying that you guys are, you have more of the same, but I want to kind of point out things that are it's just different, and then,
you gotta find your niche.
yeah. And the stream, I mean, it's been awesome. And I've met a lot of really cool people. Some weirdos, I do get trolled. I get trolled probably about 2 or 3 times a month. And
How so?
Yeah. Well, so the last one, this guy, I was screen sharing. We were watching a video, and this guy hops in and he was like, I've never seen anyone stream from a Mac unironically. And I was like, how do you know I'm on a Mac? I didn't realize I'm screen sharing. Duh, stupid. I'm not a tech guy. Not a tech guy.
I just got rid of my Mac.
You two will be best friends.
He was so mad at me. I got down here with a MacBook Pro, and he was like,
I go, what
"This
the
isn't gonna."
is that?
Yeah.
Gonna work.
But the way I explained it, because the guy was like, oh, you Apple fanboys, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, Apple fanboy. I was like, what makes you think I'm a fanboy just because I'm
Just jump straight into tech racism.
Yeah. Right. And so he was like,
Classic.
PC's way better. And so and the mods in my chat, they were like chomping at the bit to ban this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, don't ban him. I was like, let's have a
It's
conversation.
not really
So
a bannable offense.
we had
I
like,
love mods. They're
I'm
ready
just
to kill,
shocked
dude.
that this is
Dude.
how you get trolled. I just assumed
Shout out to the
Xbox
Pepperbox
Live.
mods. Wow, what a fantastic group of people.
we
Sorry.
had like a 20-minute conversation of, and during COVID, when I first decided to actually invest in a business and make it legit, if I'm creating content, my goal is to find the best tools at the best price to create content. Of
course.
And I said at the time, I bought what I could afford. I learned how to use it, and this is what I've done.
Most
and-
people start on Macs.
Well, and
it's
it's
a good
super
tool to start on.
user-friendly.
Exactly.
That's how
Yeah,
I
it's
started on a
great.
Mac.
And it was
Sam and Nico started on a Mac from
Yeah.
Horror
it's
Crew.
great.
They're sold as the creators or the.
Yeah, they are.
Well, yeah.
The
If
nicest
it's the
thing is
creative's
how it
computer.
works with your phone. I can make something.
I literally
drop it on
edit,
my phone.
airdrop, and
Yep.
post.
It's like exactly. That's exactly what I'm
correct.
talking about. When you're getting into the game and you just need something that just does that, and the environment all works together, and you don't get all this random stuff, you
Yeah.
don't get export failures and all
Yep.
this BS. They're perfect for that. Once you understand that, it's like starting on a Harley Sportster.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, don't do that. I didn't
It
start
is.
on a Harley Sportster.
Well,
did?
okay. I
Terrible.
mean, I
No.
started on a Honda Rebel.
Oh, I had a
like most
Shadow.
people. But then you go to the Harley Sportster.
Suzuki?
And then you realize it's not enough power, is my point.
Here's
The
my-
motorcycle enthusiasts.
Here's
out
my
there.
scheme. You guys didn't start on a Ducati.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
My first bike was a Honda Shadow VLX 600.
Really?
Yeah, and I cut the back end off and welded a hardtail on it and welded a 50 can ammo can on the side and put my license plate on it. And I took it out for the first rip.
This is where I keep my guns.
Dude, I thought that thing was bad, dude. I took it out for my first rip. It had these little hangers on it too.
Did they fall?
Oh my
No,
God.
I pinned it at a stoplight, and there was a mom in a minivan paying me no attention. She was not flooring it. She was just driving, and I couldn't keep up with her. She was pulling away from
Yeah.
me, and I was like,
Yeah,
trying
they
to
barely
rip-
go 55.
Yeah, the bike was terrible. I don't know. I literally drove
Basically
it
on
for
a moped.
Yeah, it had temp tags on it when I pulled into the Harley dealership.
Yep.
I was like, I can't. Nope.
Yep,
Nope.
that's you ride it for about 3 months until you can afford the payment on the financed.
Till you can
Sportster.
I bought it online on Craigslist when I was deployed, and so like I got back to Tennessee, and me and my uncle like put it together, and then I hated it literally the first time I rode it, and then like 2 weeks later I had a Dyna Wide Glide.
Oh, you went straight to a Dyna
straight
Wide
to a
Glide.
Wide
Now
Glide.
who's fancy?
Jeez.
You went straight from
Well,
a
they got me. It
Shadow
wasn't
to
my
a Dyna
fault.
Wide Glide.
I pulled in on this piece
Thank
of
you
shit
very
bike.
much.
It made me an offer I couldn't
Sorry,
refuse.
this is a previous beef I have with him. About,
really?
I
about
pulled in
being-
They offered me 45%.
Yeah, I pulled into my army uniform, and they were like,
Cha-ching!
"Gotcha."
There's a sucker born every
He's
day.
not walking
man.
out of here without a motorcycle.
He didn't
I
go
was-
for the
when I
Hellcat.
left. When I left the dealership, I was $6,000 upside down on the bike the day I left out of the dealership.
Of course you were. Yeah.
Well, in the late 80s, I saw it was a Honda Goldwing,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
and I fell in love.
Really?
They're not
I
bad.
fell in
With the Goldwing.
I was a kid.
Goldwings are sick, dude. Have you seen
the
these
80s
cafe'd out?
Goldwing are,
God, you guys are
it's the
gross.
luxury Tron.
It's literally
It's luxury Tron.
It's a car.
Yeah.
My
It's
granddad had one.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Have you seen the fucking Goldwings cafe'd out? They're so sick.
I'm sorry, what?
I hate Nolan's taste in bikes.
What the hell's wrong with you, man?
He likes.
Okay.
You know what Nolan? You know
Why
what
would you
Nolan's,
cafe out a Goldwing?
Because you can.
No.
Nolan's next bike is like a 1250.
You're gonna break your
Acura.
back riding that thing,
Yeah.
man.
Facts.
Gosh.
We're gonna do a.
It's,
We're gonna do a
it's
show that
inherently
follows
not
this at
a
some point.
Goldwing.
Yeah,
Just look at how
man.
wide the. Anyways.
We're all talking to. We're gonna do a show after this at some point called Man versus Motorcycle.
Yeah.
we'll have
Oh,
to get
man.
out
You got to
for that.
come out for that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I've never owned them. I had one motorcycle. My dad gave me
KingPix dies on Man vs. Motorcycle.
his funeral.
Does black crack?
Black does.
We'll get him an all white '87 Goldwing.
Chase, write that down.
Yes, dude.
Okay, that'd be
Oh
pretty
my God.
dope.
That
If
would
we
be
got
awesome,
whole
dude.
white.
You had an all white one?
Yeah, I'll be here for that.
Okay.
My dad gave me it was a Suzuki Intruder.
Yeah.
Was it an Intruder? It was an 08. And he gave it to me as a wedding gift. And my wife, we talked about it, and she was like, I don't want you to have a motorcycle. And I was like, you know, growing up, my dad lived on the West Coast. I grew up in Maryland.
Okay.
And so going out to dad's, that's where you get to ride the motorcycles.
Hell yeah.
And so now I finally have a motorcycle. This is fantastic. And my wife's like, I don't want you to have one. And so I thought about it, and I was like, we could make some money
Was
from
this
it.
before you had kids, though?
This is before kids.
You got to have a motorcycle.
I
before
know,
kids.
I know. And I was like, look, I said, Dad, I'm just going to sell it.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, it's yours. So whatever you want to do with it. And so that
See,
bike's
this is
gone.
why 18 years.
That bike's
Yeah.
gone.
Did you take her on rides before she said this?
No, I don't think she's
didn't
ever
get
been on a
it.
motorcycle.
She wanted you to get rid of it. There's no way she got on.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
Not
The
at
first date I ever took my wife on,
Yeah.
she drove back from her dad's house in Sacramento to Redding. So she gets home probably around like midnight.
Yeah.
And I had texted her around 10. I was like, hey, do you want to hang out? And she's like, I'm driving home from Sacramento, so I'll be home really late. I said, I'll wait up for you.
all. Yeah.
She gets home. I said, you want to go for a motorcycle ride? And that night I took her lane splitting between two semis, and she
See-
I talked about selling the bike, and she
Yeah.
started to cry. She's like, you can't sell the bike.
It means so much.
That episode has to happen.
Send that to Chase.
That's exactly what I saw when I was
need
a
to
kid.
get you one of
I
those
was like,
three-quarter
I could put all
American
kind of
flag
stuff
helmets.
in there.
My granddad had this bike.
Really?
Yeah, it's an '86 all white Goldwing.
That's his granddad's bike.
We need to get you the 3/4 American flag helmet.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Oh my god,
down.
yes. Can we give him some little mini apes on it too?
Mini apes, dude. Little mini tees.
No. With the swoop. I can't have apes on mine because that's racist.
Oh, is it?
That seems
It is.
aggressive.
Yeah, but
Wait,
it's so cool. Apes
that like
are
a-
cool for everybody.
Is that a bite? Is that a
Everybody
black
likes
club thing?
gorillas.
Like nobody has apes?
No.
I don't think I've ever seen.
Fine,
a
we'll
black
get you-
dude with-
we'll
No,
get you
it's,
teased.
you're thinking about it too hard. Black
I'm
people
not
and
thinking about it
monkeys.
I'm not thinking about it too hard. I'm just thinking. I'm just all of a sudden. I'm thinking.
it was right there.
I don't think I've ever seen a black dude with ape hangers.
They all have T-bars. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's
yeah.
what they do.
Now, I do have, I did get an e-bike, and that thing rips.
Oh, so
We were
you
laughing
do
about
own
your-
that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
mine.
Did you buy that or was it?
No, so I work with GovX.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was one of the bargaining chips. And that thing, the website says it'll go. I think it says it'll go like 26 miles per hour. I got it up to 34.
Heck yeah, dude.
I got it to 34, and it was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was, and it's not it's not built to to really go that
Take
fast.
the governor off, get
because
to
it's got front end suspension.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have rear. So going that fast, it's
I did
terrifying.
an experiment when e-bikes were first coming onto the scene, where we did a video where I rode an e-bike to work every day for a week in Los Angeles.
Oh, I remember that video.
Yeah, and they gave us
You unlock core memories every time you talk about corridor videos. I'm like, I've seen that.
they gave us a beach cruiser.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a modified beach cruiser, but it was a beach cruiser, and it's got like the swoop back handle,
God.
right?
Shit, I did
And
that.
it's got and I'm taking it to work, and I used to live by the Rio whatever. There was a river that led into the LA River. Okay, and so I could take that river because it's all concrete in Los Angeles, and so
Like
I could
Terminator.
yes, exactly. If you've ever seen so. I would take that river, then get on the LA River, and then take that to the studio because we were right by the LA River. And I would just be blasting down this because it's just concrete for miles. And I'm just
flat lane.
going 30 on this beach cruiser, and there's homeless people all over the place.
No, not in Los Angeles.
Come back.
And
Let me holler at you real quick.
they turn. Let
Let me see your bike.
They hear this, and I would just,
Oh my gosh.
what the f- is that?
Blow their sleeping bag
Yeah,
off of them.
I would freak them out, man. It was wild.
I ride around my neighborhood.
It's a dragon.
and
Yeah.
There's two speed bumps that are on one street in my neighborhood, and what I'll do is I'll leave my driveway and then I'll go down probably about 200 yards and then turn into the neighborhood and then hit those speed bumps and just hit those jumps.
Do you get air?
I do, and so
Those big fat tires.
Yeah,
that bike
dude.
is kind of sketchy.
And all them
Your-
batteries
your
in
little,
there.
Your little reel about like don't fall over, don't fall over, don't fall over.
that's real. That's real.
Yeah, that's a don't cut that.
so
That's
funny,
great.
dude.
I'll take it out to the range and I'll zip around, but it when I hit those speed bumps, it's funny because there's always kids out there, and so there's kids and they just stare, and so I hit this speed bump and I get a little air. It was a nice little jump. It was nicely timed, nicely performed.
Nice.
And some would say it was perfect.
Some say it was the best jump. I don't say it. Some do.
I didn't realize it, but there's a ton of veterans in the neighborhood, and this guy was at the end of his driveway checking his mail, and he goes, "Sick jump, dude," and I'm like, "Yeah."
You immediately like skid the tires and come back around and be like, "Listen, I need you on my channel real quick. Like, just do exactly."
I mean, it was so like organic the way it happened. He's literally like reaching and grabbing his man. He's like, "Sick jump, dude."
Okay.
Funny,
I can see this right now. It's a
Yeah.
wide
funny
angle.
story about that. My buddy he's got a pontoon boat. Okay, don't do start. Okay, he's got a pontoon boat.
Pontoon bro? No,
Yeah.
that's redneck classic.
Okay, that's okay.
So he's
Okay.
this rich
See, I
spoiled
don't
kid from
know.
the Northeast.
You'll
Yes,
figure it out.
that's his soft
That's a
underbelly.
lie. Don't believe it. It's fake news. It's always been
news.
fake news. Anyway, he's out on his pontoon boat. Similar to this, he's got this, machine that he's out there in the neighborhood on because everyone's got pontoon boats. They're all out there. Well, he's just riding along one day. It's morning. He's fishing, and he hears this roar coming down the river towards him. It's this giant yellow cigarette boat. Do you know what a cigarette boat is?
No clue.
They're these huge racing boats.
Like 4 engines on the back.
yeah,
like
and they're
smuggler
and
boats.
they're
Like
yeah.
was
Smuggler
it
boats.
Tropic Thunder, that show with Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, dude. That was my favorite show as a kid.
You gotta settle down, dude.
No,
I've never seen this man.
He said the same thing at the room.
no, I completely forgot about that. That was my favorite show as a kid.
You remember that,
I gotta
Bo?
tell you.
Yes, that show was awesome.
You guys don't know what he's talking about?
I'm gonna watch that all
Vaguely
weekend.
remember what you're talking
Dude, it was so good.
It is a classic.
Do you know how young I am?
I don't know who the other guy. I don't know how young you are, but I feel like you're younger than me.
I'm a child.
Okay. But I do remember.
I'm
I
88.
remember Hulk Hogan, and whenever they go into like stealth mode.
Yes,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I ruined the
Knight
story.
Rider.
Yes, it was
It was Knight Rider.
Water.
But on a
It was
boat.
Knight Rider
Yeah.
mixed
Actually,
with
that sounds
Airwolf,
kinda
but
dope.
for a boat.
You haven't seen that?
Sounds pretty sick.
It sounds very 80s, and I'm
Dude,
I'm
it's
definitely
gold.
into
It
it.
was
That's like
gold.
American
It was very
Gladiator style.
brother.
Yeah, it's
we
gold.
have an idea to do man versus movie.
Oh
and we
my
can
gosh.
include shows or whatever
Absolutely.
ess, but just stuff. I
Just
figure
like
we
a couple
start with that
episodes.
kind of stuff.
Mhm.
That would be
Tropic
really
Thunder.
fun.
Is
If
that
you
the
guys
name
want to
of
let
it?
see that, let
I
us
don't know if
know.
that was the name of
I
it.
haven't
No. It was Thunder in Paradise.
Thunder in Paradise.
I have a selective photographic memory.
Hell yeah.
Give me time, I'll remember.
Thunder
Yeah.
in Paradise. I'm literally
That gets
gonna,
my Jimmy's
I'm gonna
Russell,
put that in my
that-
notes
that
so I
title.
remember to Amazon.
Yeah.
Thunder in
So
Paradise.
anyway, he's riding down the river. He
We
hears
completely interrupted
He
you,
hears
I'm
this.
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's part of the fun. He hears this giant roar. Okay, this guy in a yellow, like bright, obnoxious yellow cigarette boat with like American flags down the side
Beautiful.
of it.
White
Comes
spyglasses.
blasting down. Okay,
It's got a Hulk Hogan hood on
he's
it.
standing. He's
Just his brother as it goes by.
He sees this coming and he just stands up on his pontoon and he just salutes. Okay. The other guy salutes back. He blasts down the river, and then 30 seconds later, the DNR, like the government in their boat, in their agency boats, come racing after the guy.
Oh my God.
Not catching that, dude. That's a boat
Until he
pursuit.
runs out of gas or
He's
blows
got
up.
1,500 horsepower out of 4 motors. He's the not
Oh
catching
my
that.
That prop is going hard.
Imagine that at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday.
When you're just day drinking and trying to fish on your
oh,
pontoon
the
boat.
river's like glass this morning.
There's no better reaction than to salute.
How hard did that pontoon boat rock?
Probably almost fell out.
So you live in a neighborhood with a river, huh? Your neighbors have
I
boats?
don't live in a neighborhood
Interesting.
with a river. A friend of mine lives in a neighborhood with a
associate.
river. Yeah,
There you go.
An associate of mine. And
I live on the mountain.
I live on the mountain. He comes to my house to go skiing. Don't you know this?
I did see a house on a mountain on the way here.
Yeah. Yeah, the penis house. Does it look like a giant penis?
It
Have you
does.
seen that?
Kinda does now that
The
I
one in
think
Leon
it does.
Springs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, the one across from the Heb?
So that neighborhood used to be attached to the BRCC ranch.
Really?
Yeah, well, the BRCC ranch, they don't have it anymore, but it was this 1,600 acre kind of, game
compound?
ranch.
Yeah.
And it used to be twice as big, the guy that built it.
Yeah.
And then they sold half of it and they built all those nice houses there. And then the ranch is still inside of it, but I think they're also developing it now.
That's crazy. Well, I saw it and
Strip malls.
immediately I thought of Kid Rock's house out
Yeah.
in Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh, he redid the White House?
It's literally so.
But it's like 4 times as big?
no,
Dude.
It's I don't think it's bigger, but they said that house only has like 2 bedrooms in it.
It's bigger. I was watching a whole thing about it.
Really?
It's like significantly larger
it?
than the White House, which like blew my mind.
Yeah. Well, they said it's only got like 2 bedrooms in it.
Well,
We only need
one
2
of them
bedrooms
is named
when you have-
Kid, the other name is Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I left the last range day, I had to get back to the airport and traffic was building up. I was like, look, traffic's building up. I got to leave early.
Yeah.
They were like, you can just hop in the helicopter. I was like, you're saying I could take a helicopter to the airport? They were like, yeah, he'll take you. And the guy who skydived in, he was like, yeah, we'll take you. No issue.
I didn't know this.
Somebody
Yeah.
skydived into the last range day?
For the Echelon range day.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
I was very confused. I was like, what?
Oh no, I got it
The
backwards.
words are so tiny on that screen.
I got it backwards. The real White House is 55,000 square feet and Kid Rock's is 27.
I knew it. I knew that.
55.
What a poser.
Yeah.
Sorry, wait. 55,000?
That's the White House.
Not
Kid Rock's
5,500. 55,000.
55,000. The Kid Rock's
just
is
a
only
warehouse.
only 27,000.
Only 27.
Imagine being Kid Rock though.
Imagine
and-
building the White House.
Yeah, I mean,
On a mountain.
like
That's pretty dope.
And so we're
I'm not
on
gonna
the
lie,
way to the
that's pretty
airport, he
cool.
goes, you want to fly over Kid Rock's house?
Yeah. hell
Absolutely.
yeah,
you
do.
don't ask me that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an automatic
Wear a
yes.
funny hat.
So we fly over
Yeah.
and I'm looking at, he's got a whole
thing.
compound up, and it's all to himself.
Yeah.
And then, so that was cool to see that. And that's what I thought of when I saw that house on the hill. But then on my helicopter ride, he's like, hey, we're running a few minutes ahead of time. Do you want to take a tour of the city? I was like,
Yes.
absolutely.
Just like every question you're
what-
asking me, just immediately yes.
That's what I said. Stop asking me questions. We're going.
Hey, do you want to fly like Spider-Man downtown?
Yes.
So he calls in, and he's like, requesting permission or whatever, because
Yeah.
at whatever height we were flying at. And I've still never been to downtown. The only time I went downtown was when I went to
When you were in a helicopter.
well, I did the After Action podcast with Zach.
Okay.
hanging
yeah.
out the door.
Awesome.
And then so now in the helicopter, like flying by these buildings, he's like, yeah, there's the new stadium. He's like, we don't have state tax, but they're doing, and he's talking about how the people are pissed off about the stadium. And I'm just like glued to the window, like,
Yeah.
I'm not hearing what you're saying
the
right now.
doors were closed.
Well, it was a private helicopter, which means it had air conditioning and leather seats.
Heck yeah.
It was insane.
The first
you
question
mean?
would have been like, no, the first question would have been like, can I sit on the skids? I want to sit in the door with my feet on the skids.
I've spent a lot of time in military helicopters,
Loves
and
You can't
I
help
don't.
me.
I really like the new
help me.
Lakotas. Those are really nice. But they're loud and they're jittery. This helicopter was like riding around in a Benz. Like
You just do this periodically for
you're just like
dropping.
floating through the clouds.
So I went. Sorry, I'm just gonna interrupt you,
forgive
and I
you.
want you to finish the story about Nashville.
I was done.
I will let you finish, Tay.
But we all know Yas.
We were in New York City, and New York City, you can take helicopter tours in the sky. Okay,
I wouldn't
Well,
encourage it recently.
I wouldn't
Right.
take one
So-
somewhere other than the sky.
we were there. We got in.
Terminator subway
They
tunnel.
went over the protocol of how to be in the helicopter. Everything seemed fine except for this one weird feature that I thought was odd. And they said you need to take. So we're against the back of the bird. You take the hook from the other person. Okay, you hook them in.
Yeah.
This person can't unhook themselves. And I thought, well, what if there's an emergency and you need to unhook? And they said, oh, well, you want to stay in the bird. I said, not all the time, right?
Yeah.
The next day, the same helicopter company,
Crash Kobe Bryant.
no, their bird crashed into the Hudson River and 5 people died
that
because
was
they
the one-
couldn't get out.
Yeah, but it's
And then because of that, they had to change the rule on the FAA changed the rule
Yeah.
on tourist helicopters in New York to not have the strap be strapped to the back where you can't access it.
what's
Why not
your-
put harnesses?
Huh?
If a helicopter's going down, generally what happens is you've lost the tail rudder in some
Yeah.
way. So, or the tail rudder in some way. So it means that you're spinning like violently out of control.
Well, yeah,
So,
obviously
like,
you wouldn't want to fly out then. But
yeah,
they
like,
landed
what's-
in the water. And then once
Oh,
they landed in the
oh, they
water,
couldn't
I was gonna say that last
They
one, the
couldn't get
prop
out.
came.
Oh, yeah, no, because if like what? Because the average person panics and you just panic. And that's
yeah,
the end
because
of
you're
it.
not going to
gonna
think about this
your
person,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't get out. They're just strapped in. They can't get out.
Oh my God.
And they sunk and died.
I was thinking
The
more
next
on
day,
like
the same helicopter that I was on, me and Christian from Corridor and Nick from Corridor.
Rough.
Yeah.
how many helicopters.
And when we were
crash?
up there, we were laughing, going,
Lot.
"This is kind of sketchy. These things hold themselves up by their own lift. This is kind of
I got-
messed up."
I got told by a Black Hawk pilot one time. He was like, "These aren't supposed to fly.
Yeah.
mathematically, like this shouldn't work."
Like a-
and I was like,
like a
"What?
bumblebee.
What?" And it's like, I'm like,
Yeah.
excuse me.
I never
hold
want,
on.
I'll be honest, I never want to go on one again.
Oh man, I love
already
them.
have kind of a thing about heights. Like I can do heights. I'm not totally not claustrophobic, but height phobic. But I don't like it.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing better in the world than riding in a helicopter with like sitting on the floor of it with your feet on the skids, because they'll take turns and centrifugal force keeps you pinned.
And then CCR starts playing in your head.
Dude, it's the best thing. 2015 Afghanistan, flying the rivers, you'd like wave at a kid like this, and he's like looking straight up at you, waving like that. You're just sitting in a chair like this.
Right.
You're just pinned to the floor.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just talking about like planes because of your whole debacle. Like planes and helicopters, it's like,
Dude, there's
it's getting really sketchy. It's almost like
Yeah.
the single company that has a monopoly on all this is
it's
cutting
not
corners or
doing
something.
great. Dude. Yeah, it seems like there's been a lot of helicopters falling out of the sky in New York recently. There's been like,
Well,
this
I
is
know
for
the one recently they showed the prop came off. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah,
really
you're not
bad.
going anywhere if the prop comes off.
Yeah, I feel like when a plane has an issue, like you
I
can
mean,
still
you're
kind of
going
glide
like
it.
that.
Oh, they didn't
Yeah,
Loctite
yeah.
it?
Yeah, when a helicopter has an issue, like
Helicopters?
Oh, dude, they
you're
just
not
they
good.
just needed to use blue Loctite.
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem was.
Yeah, they didn't put any blue
By
on.
the way, you watch the helicopter going along, and then like the bird starts to go down, the prop comes off, and the bird it doesn't spin, it just kind of nosedives into the river.
oh, the main prop came off.
Yeah.
I saw one where the rear prop came off and it did the death spin, and then the tail broke off, and it just like
No, this thing went straight down into the water.
Did the people die?
Everybody's dead.
yeah.
Yeah. It was like a family of 5, and then the
They
pilot
were
was like
probably
a
strapped in from the back,
Oh,
dude.
I saw a whole
the pilot was like a former Navy SEAL. And,
I saw a weird conspiracy about that whole like flight.
You're not
yeah.
gonna swim your way out of this one.
I feel like no matter
That's
what,
horrible.
no matter
Well,
what,
the family's
like,
from
helicopter or
overseas.
plane goes
I think
down,
from
there's a
Italy or
conspiracy that
Spain or
comes out
something
about
like
it.
that.
No, but
Rightfully
there-
so, but like,
There was like what he's saying. There was like a Navy SEAL in there, and there was like a
The family was like from Spain or
it
Italy
was,
or
like,
something
weird.
like that.
One of
I
those
don't know if
I don't remember what it was.
Latin tongues.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not like
been
a Kobe
anything.
Bryant conspiracy.
Well, Kobe Bryant had a lot going
Sorry,
on.
wait, what?
I don't
Bryant?
remember it enough. I can't get into it. It's not worth getting into.
There's a
it.
Kobe
was-
Bryant
Yes, it was
conspiracy?
yeah.
Kobe
Oh, yeah.
v. Big Pharma, and apparently he was.
That's what it is.
He was.
Wait, you
was a-
know enough about this to go into it? Because I've never
I'd
heard
rather
this
not-
one.
I'd rather not. I'd
Get
rather.
into it in the after show, maybe.
But it was a lot like.
I didn't even know this one was out.
So like even Chester from Linkin Park, his the
Podesta.
yeah. A lot
Chester from Linkin Park.
Yeah.
There's a
Yes.
conspiracy
Do you
around
not
him, too?
read conspiracy
It's a-
theories? Like,
no.
I don't understand.
I'm just a normal guy.
There's a
The only guy
conspiracy
that ever
that
hung
Chester.
himself was the guy that played Batman, David Carradine. That's the only guy.
That's what he was
And
jerking off
he did it for fun. And he played Batman the one time. You know that story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah,
David
that's
Carradine, Highlander.
yeah.
He was jerking off in a Batman.
He
suit.
wasn't
Only because my
David
friend
Carradine
told
wasn't
me about it.
Highlander.
Yeah, no, he was the other guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he was in Highlander.
I was a fan of Highlander.
Okay.
Sometimes
so
There can only be one, am I right?
Highlander, Renegade, Batman. Did you ever watch Renegade?
wait,
with
David
Lorenzo
Carradine
Lamas?
was Batman?
No, he hung himself jerking off in a Batman outfit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And when they found him, he
I
was
just
like
knew
he
he-
was erotic
I just knew that
asphyxiation in
he-
a Batman.
It's
suit.
for funsies.
Do you think when
Imagine
he finished,
that,
he's
dude.
like, I'm justice, and then just like,
To himself.
I just
wow, that's really
honestly,
getting
like, I've
into the
always
role.
wondered, like, did he
he's a method actor.
did he finish?
That's important.
Did they release the
The
files?
name of this episode,
Did they
Did
release the
David
files?
Carradine Cum?
Oh my gosh.
Black doesn't crack, but David Carradine does.
That would sell. I'd buy that.
Black doesn't crack, but David Carradine comes.
Oh my gosh.
We are just consumed here with thumbnails and video titles. It's like
That's brain rot.
Constant
That is
conversation.
content creator brain rot.
it is, dude.
Yeah.
It's a
Welcome
we
to my
made
life.
a thumbnail last night until I don't know 11:30
I
at
was
night
here
or
until
something
midnight.
stupid. Were you really?
Yeah.
Oh my
We worked on this
God.
thumbnail for like 6 hours, dude.
Good Lord, man.
Just to have two kids point at someone else and like,
Just selecting the color on an arrow.
dude, we changed the color on the jacket. We changed the color.
What do you use for your thumbnails?
I didn't even notice the
What do you use
jacket
to
was
create
changed.
them?
Photoshop?
A combination
and
of Canva and Photoshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
My thumbnails are
What?
trash.
Canva's actually really good for cutting out assets. I will say that, honestly.
You actually? So wait, you're admitting that Canva does a better job?
I've never
of
used
dropping the back.
At a single thing.
Yeah, it's
Wait, you
so
like
much
Canva?
easier.
Yeah.
Canva, dude.
Really?
You literally click a button.
If you want to
Done.
be
Takes 10 seconds.
if you want to be sophisticated and you want to get into the nuance,
Yeah.
it's not good for that. But most people, the issue with Photoshop is how do I just cut this thing out simply?
Yes.
Yeah.
Canva came up with an AI that just does that like that.
Yeah.
It
Literally
makes it
2
so
seconds.
much easier, and it's not like you're any better at Photoshop just because you know how to do that. It's one of those things where in the like digital arts, you just want to get it done as quickly as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, oh, well, you're not doing it the artistic way. No, just cut the damn thing
Dude,
out for
yeah.
me.
You have
and
to
give me the
see
asset.
the thumbnail
really
that we
good.
made.
Yeah.
So
I saw the one. So the one that you guys posted on Instagram today.
yes, so that thumbnail, if you were to scroll the layers on Photoshop, I don't. If you had to guess, 100, 150.
No, I mean
100
probably
layers?
around 75.
Good Lord.
So,
It's insane, dude. And you gotta watch. You gotta watch Chase do Photoshop. He looks like he's playing the piano, and there's just things
is.
happening
It's
on the
art
screen.
happening
it's
in
just
front of
hot
your
buttons.
eyes.
See, that's the level that I want to get to.
He is thinking at the same speed that he
Yeah.
is executing
and
with the tool.
both sides of his brains are
brains.
doing different things.
Chase
Both brains.
actually no. So
His eyes are
So
two
Chase-
separate
like
directions,
cows
like
have
a
two
chameleon.
statics, he has
Chase
Yeah.
had an issue with one of the programs that he was running, and I went over there for an edit one day, and he was editing 5 steps ahead, and then like taking a sip of water,
Oh, and then he
waiting
would,
for the
like-
PC to catch up, and then he would do another 5 steps.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
wait.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you have to see his.
wild.
One
you
of
have
these
to see
days, I'm gonna get a PC.
It was
right. I'm gonna
excellent.
get the most expensive
You're a
PC I
magic
can
man, Chase.
find, and I am gonna learn how to do all. That's
Okay,
my
this
goal.
gets us back to switching from Apple. Did you switch from Apple?
No,
Or are you
so
still on
so
Apple?
they always kind of roast me for being on Mac.
Yeah.
And we've spec'd out a PC that I like. I can't afford it, and I don't pull any punches. I'm not getting on the internet and be like, oh yeah, I'm rolling in the dough, y'all.
Right.
I got that $100 check from Twitch last month. You know what I'm saying? But what I'll do is I'll set a goal.
Thank you, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. I'll set a goal and I'll say, all right, if I know what I want to build, if I spec it out before I make the move, then the only issue is making the money.
Yeah.
I can make the money.
Yeah.
It's just going to take time. So
See, that's the mentality. Did you just hear that, people? That's the mentality.
giving y'all the game.
Yeah.
So really focusing on what exactly I want, because I don't game, but I want to try it. I want to attempt gaming at some point. I do a lot of editing, which my MacBook, started and run my business for the last 4 years from that MacBook. I started with shooting videos and editing on my phone.
Bro.
Yes.
That's where it began, and I hated it.
Oh,
And now,
awful. It's the
now I
worst.
edit on a MacBook, and I still hate it. But
Brandon
I have better
still
equipment.
edits his thumbnails on his phone.
Does he really?
Yeah,
Really?
just as a little anecdote.
I blew their mind when I got here that the Cock and Load series I was running on YouTube,
Yeah.
like hour-long videos, some
Yeah.
of them, I did all of that on CapCut, free edition on my iPhone.
That's crazy.
Savage.
Dude, I would have to delete every single piece of media on my phone to
Yeah.
just handle running
Just one-
CapCut. Yeah.
Well, once I figured out audio, and even now I have a little. I bought I did get a cinema camera. I have a project that I'm working on. Actually, I'm going on Saturday. So I get home, I leave here Friday. I have to pack up, and then I'm going up to DC. I'm working on a project with some members of Congress.
Okay.
I'm really hoping. Oh, I know it's gonna be a hit. But the guy was like, "Hey, I want to eventually get to a point where we can sell this to Netflix." So now I'm like, I don't have a Netflix approved camera.
It's okay. You just tell them you filmed it on a
Yeah.
Netflix approved camera.
So, well, here's what I did. I went the honest route. After SHOT Show, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a camera. So I got the Blackmagic Ursa 4.6K. Or
Black
yeah,
Magic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got that camera.
What a product.
And that camera it's been awesome to be able to edit, directly from that, because it came with the SSD. So I have that 1 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
So it just makes my workflow easier. So now when I go on Saturday, I'm going to set everything up, and I do it all lights, camera, action. I told them I've got lights, mics. I've got the H6 that I can just plug up and we can do separate audio tracks. But the snafu that I'm dealing with now is that it only has XLR audio. Now, I'm not trying to camera nerd out right now,
Oh, please dive.
but I have an XLR to 3.5 jack,
Yeah.
and it completely crushes my audio.
Yep.
You might notice, I don't know if you guys consume any of my content lately, the audio is completely screwed up.
Oh, thank you for saying
We
that,
did.
because I was
We were
watching your
actually
content
watching
the other
it,
day,
like,
and I was like,
Nolan
what
was like,
happened?
What happened?
It hurts me to the core. But my wife said, you can't not post it.
No.
You can't not post it. You shot it, you edit, you can't not post it. So I try to get it back as close to center as possible. But the fix for that, and you know that the Ursa is not a small camera, because if I could afford it, I would have gone with one of the Sony cameras, which one day we'll get there.
Yeah,
so now
it's crazy that a cinema camera from Blackmagic is like, what? You probably spent how much on it?
I
on
think
the Ursa?
overall is like $2,100.
Yeah, but like a base
And that's
FX3 is like
that's for-
$5,000.
Yeah.
As for the camera, the battery, it came with 2 batteries and battery chargers, and it came with the SSD, because you actually mount the SSD, hook up to the camera,
This is a full terabyte, too.
and it came with a terabyte hard drive.
Right.
So all that for $2,100.
Yeah.
Minus the lens.
And so like,
And Sony's like, here's a camera body.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
for
someone
$5.
commented, they were like, why would you get that big setup? Because it's heavy, it's this and that. I was like, well, it is, but at the same time, and it's got internal NDs, and it'll shoot, it
That's a
won't
big
crop.
deal.
It won't crop at higher frame rates. So it's like it makes sense. And so I'm like, why don't I get this to learn on before I really start spending the big bucks?
idea.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I have run into an issue with it. It's showing media offline with shooting 120 frames per second, which kills me because I want slow-mo, and I currently don't have a workaround for it. But
Yeah. Well,
this summer, or whenever I get a PC, hopefully that'll be something to to get all that.
It's probably
squared
just
away.
Apple not wanting to communicate with any other product ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Chase can probably help you with a few of those things
Yeah.
once we're done here.
Well, it was very difficult for me to not bring my entire setup, because I love traveling with it, and I love, taking it out and setting it up and everything else. And I realized that, I have to pump the brakes on that,
yeah.
because if I'm lugging it around and I'm not using it, it's just getting beat up in the Pelican case.
Okay, so let me ask you, how do you go from a guy who's shooting stuff on your phone and editing on your phone
Yeah.
to somebody asking you to go to a different city with your entire setup to create something for somebody else effectively?
I've never been asked that, and I couldn't tell you.
That was a beautiful thing.
I couldn't tell you. I dove into shooting content, and every time I got a new piece of equipment, once I got my first lav mic, I nerded out a bit.
Yeah.
I found out how to make it work. Then I leveled up. Then I got, another piece of equipment. I got another lens. And then once I got the computer and I realized that, because I had it with DaVinci, once I realized how powerful DaVinci was, then I just went headfirst into DaVinci and figured out how to shoot videos that look decent. And outside of that, you know, I was told very early on that if your lighting is good and your audio is good, people will watch.
That's
Super
a
true.
really accurate statement.
Yeah.
Now, people will watch sometimes. There's some car guys out there. There's other types of content out there where people want it raw, shot on the
Yeah.
phone because it feels. But if you lighting, a lot of times the two things that make something cinematic,
Yeah.
lighting and camera motion.
Yep.
If you have it well lit and the camera's moving, people go, "That looks so cinematic."
Yeah.
What is happening?
Well, the hurdle that I'm running into is that I'm a one-man show.
yeah.
And, you know, I shoot on a tripod. Vortex was nice enough to send me a tripod. So
I love the hustle, by the way.
was that?
This is like how I got where I was. Was like,
Dude,
I literally can't afford any of this stuff. I will like hustle through Instagram to get like this individual
Yeah.
item that I need. To,
Yeah,
like,
that's
move
that's
every
that's
year.
what it is. But they see, you know, they see the work, they see the effort that goes into it, but then they see the fruits of it. If I post something and it gets 10,000 views in the first 6 hours, for me, that's a success.
Dude, the one where you're on the airplane and you're just practicing dry firing.
My daughter shot that one.
Dude, I love it so much.
died.
My daughter was my cameraman.
I died.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Mike's
that's
here. My
how,
daughter
that's
had
where
to-
I'm
yeah.
at whenever I get on an airplane.
But that's the thing is that, so I shoot all of these. If I'm not shooting a cinematic video on my cinema camera, my wife, she says, why don't you just shoot something on your phone? It wouldn't hurt to have something from your phone every once in a while. Yeah. So when we go on our family vacation,
Yeah.
we shot, so I did the hot dog videos. They're all on phones.
Yeah.
There was one I
Those
did.
are great, dude.
Yeah. And they took off. The one that I just did with Tyler.
Is that a hot dog?
My middle kid shot that.
That's great, dude.
So the one that we just did on the range last week, that's been my most successful video in the last 2 months. Oh, yes, please.
Can I have one of those, Tackett?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's nothing more than Tyler taking a selfie video with me and Dan in the background. And it's to the point where I have the technical spot down. I own lights. I went out, that was one of the first things I did was I bought a bunch of lights. Bought lights, I got mics, I found out that spot. But then what is my actual content? Because when I was like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber. And my wife's like, what's your content?
and then you just immediately go, oh.
I have no clue.
Can you go into that? How have
Yeah.
you gone about discovering your niche? And have you found it yet?
So
We call it a niche here.
It's a ladder. You got to
Oh.
build your own
It's
ladder.
not a niche.
So I started in, I think it was 2020 it's 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Somehow, well, actually, I guess it goes further back than that. But somehow I started a photography business.
somehow you found yourself at a wedding with a
Oh.
DSLR.
Exactly.
Two leather chest
Yeah, you got the
straps.
leather chest straps
No,
with the two
I didn't
cameras.
get the- I didn't get-
$75,000 with a
I didn't
Your
get the
wife's
money
with
maker.
you.
There's a drone
Oh,
above.
yeah, you've got a collared shirt on. You don't know why.
You've got a wide angle. You've got the telephone.
yeah, but
It's
I
kind of
can't-
hot, but everybody's having a great time.
Yeah, I hate wedding
All of a sudden, a
photographers.
fedora appears.
Well, it wasn't bad because it was a COVID wedding and it was a backyard family wedding. It was for a friend of mine.
An illegal gathering?
Did you have a permit for
You
that?
mean an illegal gathering?
I had a permit. They didn't. I don't know. I'll give the address later on.
Okay, thank God.
We need to report that.
Dox them.
So I shoot this wedding and my buddy, he paid me like $1,500.
Oh, that's
And I was like, okay, I can turn this into a business.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
I
it
work
was-
for free for my friends, and I need to really stop that.
It was a great start.
We're working on it.
So then outside of that, I ended up getting into a street photography group. And we would go downtown and I would
Like
learn.
one of these?
It was kind of like that.
What do you guys have?
Hey
FX3s?
guys, we're the drifters.
What is that, a Panasonic?
Snakes rule.
So I learned how to use my camera on the fly.
We only shoot 35 millimeter.
And so 35.
Yeah, sorry.
35 or die.
Enjoyed this episode. It's just like a hardcore
You got
like,
35
camera nerd.
tattooed on your neck.
35.
Look, I do have a 35 at home.
35-50.
Yeah, both the best.
Sorry, that was just a
1.8.
side joke.
Just
Only
as
you
use Prime
Fuji on
window.
your forehead.
Well, all those guys, they were all Fuji, but I had a Nikon.
Oh, get out of the group. Dude.
Exactly. They were like, you can hang out with us, but you can't stay for dinner.
Right. You can't sit at the table. Yeah.
So I learned photography like on the fly by doing street photography. And then I got connected with the guy who does the food photography for my wife and I for our favorite restaurant.
Oh.
And so I started doing food photography. And so I did that for a little while.
Were you at the restaurant and you met the guy, or how do you
Well,
how
he
do you
would-
meet the guy who does the
he was-
photography for your favorite restaurant?
So
He's
we
trying
met.
to eat his food,
what
and
I'm
there's just a
wondering.
dude with a 50
guy.
prime in his face.
Did I just get
Just want to take some pictures.
I like your lips. Can I take
So
a photo?
I think
You just hold it right before you eat it.
I think he saw some of the stuff on Instagram from the street photography group.
Okay.
And we started talking on Instagram, and then I realized that he shot for the restaurant, and somehow, I don't know, I think he scheduled a day to go out there because he did like one day a month to shoot their menu items or their specials.
Yeah.
And we shot at the restaurant, and then he was like, hey, I'm interested in getting some video of me, some behind the scenes. So I shot a BTS video for him. And he's like, man, this is really good. He really appreciated it. I was like, I could probably do some video. And then so
From still frame to
yeah.
motion picture.
so I started, that's where my Instagram started. And even now, if you scroll back on my Instagram, you see food photography, which is completely just spiraled out of control because I don't even do food or product anymore. I don't even touch it.
It's the process of successfulness, though.
Yeah.
Is you just start something and it doesn't go well, and you figure it out.
Well, and I was just
There's no
shooting
other way to
constantly.
do anything.
I was just shooting constantly. And so it wasn't until it was the first time TikTok was on the chopping block. And I was like, I bet I could shoot a video making fun of some people that I actually know.
Yeah.
And so that was the first like range instructor video. And I think it was like 60 days, I shot and posted a video every day on TikTok because I was like, I got nothing to lose. And slowly but surely it started picking up steam. And I was like, do I want to start posting this on Instagram? I was like, no, Instagram is my business portfolio. I don't want to get on here and play around and make stupid satire
I don't want to be
content.
goofy.
Yeah.
That won't do well.
That's dumb.
I want you to finish the story, but I have like a personal thing to tell you when you're done with this.
Tell me now.
But wait, because he'll
No.
go on.
No, it's
do
not
that
that
and
long.
then do
Just
that.
just finish your
Okay,
story.
Yeah.
So TikTok, of course, is taking off. And I'm like, man, I really should bridge the gap between TikTok and Instagram. And so I shot there was a sniper competition somewhere out in like Southwest Virginia. And they hired me to shoot the photos. And that was a terrible experience, by the way, because that ended up with them threatening to sue me. And there's a ton of other
sick.
It was,
Do I hear Law and Order coming soon? I hear Law and Order.
So when I'm photographing a sniper competition,
Well, doing my yard work.
it was kind of crazy the way everything panned out, but I made a lot of contacts there. And through that competition, I hit 5,000 followers on Instagram. And then I was all in at that point. I just started posting my gun content, posting, shooting on the range and the range instructor and all that stuff. And then,
So if I could pause you for a second, that's a tip right there. If you are working on something and you're thinking, oh, I want to make this work, I'm working at it, you're kind of putting the feelers out and you hit on something.
yeah.
That was one thing at Corridor Crew where with VFX Artist React, sorry,
Yeah.
I can't talk.
VFX
VFX Artist
artists react.
with VFX Artist React, Nico, to his credit, he made the purpose to go, we are doing this show. And so it's just, that's what you got to do.
Well, and then not only that, but be consistent with it. And
Yes.
for me, I was like, my work schedule was a little different back then, but I was bending over backwards to get one post a day before 9 p.m. And I did that. And then like, even now, like my TikTok is at like 151,000 followers. My Instagram, I just hit 90,000. So it's like, there's something that people can relate to and somehow it's working.
Yeah.
Now, it would be very easy to say, I'm going to take a week off and not do anything and not post anything. And that would obviously slow down progress because once you take a week off, then it's easier to take another week off.
Yep.
And so I don't take any time off, and I'll show you guys my notebook. I'll write out ideas. I got some tax information in there because just all the stuff, all the things that I think about. If I don't write it down, then it just
gone.
kind of gets lost in the sauce.
Dude, you're my favorite person to like text with. I can't remember the last time we were like on the phone, like blowing each other up.
Bro, hit me up, man.
You were like, bro, I just wrote like 16 scripts.
I did.
Like,
So
we
it
got
was
all excited about something one day.
no
You were
when
like,
I saw you guys posting Pepperbox, and because I talked to Zach about Pepperbox, but then I was like, wait a second. And then I saw that you guys taking on a position here And I was like, oh, that's money.
We had that whole conversation after the range day at the house, and we were like, you were like helping me with all the characters.
That's when we were coming up with 12-year-old men for your 90 pages.
Yeah,
Listen,
Can I tell that story?
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
that time at that Airbnb after range day, that was probably the most valuable time that I had, because even talking Adam and picking his brain.
Dude, seriously, Adam and Bryce, man, we bring them up all the time. Like, just being able to be like,
I love you, Adam and Bryce.
Adam will text me out of the blue, and it'll just say like, I love you. And then also, Adam, he's on his fishing trip right now.
He's for sure watching this, though.
He's on his fishing trip.
Watching it live.
Adam,
he worked PSYOP.
Yeah, he has a PSYOP lights.
he will send me like 10 reels a day on Instagram.
Yes.
Wait, so he's doing it to you?
Yes, he does it to all of his friends.
How is he
He
doing
loves
that?
us.
It's too many things.
I send him reels. I will like flood his timeline with reels.
Well, what he does is he has all of his homies on his top, so he just like finds a reel and he goes,
Yeah. Was that the thing you were gonna say?
No. So I left the fire department during COVID and was like trying to figure things out. And like the first thing I like sat down in my woods and I was like, what's my marketable skill? And the only thing I think was like,
he was talking to the Wendigo.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, seriously. So
What do I do?
I got a job at a gun store and I got NRA like instructor approved, which is like terrible in NRA programs.
Yeah. Shout out to NRA.
Hell yeah, all right, what up, dog?
But like I was like, okay, so now I need to like market the fact that I exist, and like so I started like getting on Instagram. Was the only thing that I kind of understood, and I was trying to market myself as like an instructor. And I just came across one of your videos one day, and I watched it, and I was like, that feels weirdly personal. And I followed your page. But I like, dude, for like 6 months, I was like, I think this dude is watching my stuff and making fun of me directly.
That was in 2022.
Yeah, were you making fun of me directly?
You're his raw material.
Dude, I was like trying to be
You were
serious.
his inspiration.
Yeah, I was like trying to be serious. Like, this is.
Do you
fun.
realize
Just
I
infighting. Like,
hear this? I get this often. People
Really?
are like, "Hey, was that about me?"
Was that? I was like trying to be like stone edge. Like, this is the way to survive a gunfight. And then I would post my thing, and then I would scroll Instagram at the gun shop, and I would like see the video, and I'd be like, son of a bitch.
And then there's me on the opposite end of the spectrum, wearing flip-flops and throwing my gun in the air.
Right. I just, dude,
like-
but like, I didn't like hate you or anything, but I would see your stuff all the time. I'd be like,
screw this
swear to
guy.
God, I think this guy is making fun of me.
I was, but
It's amazing how we conform everything to ourselves.
I was so the first time
selfish
I
of you.
I didn't even know
first
who you
time I
are.
met you, I had like figured out social media after that. Like the first, I was so excited.
I met him on an elevator. He said, I feel bad for you. You want to know what I said back to him? I don't even
know
think
who
about
you
you. But no, so the whole.
I swear to God, though, I thought there was like a moment. I could get my buddy Juice to like text me. There was a moment that I would play your reel at work, and I would show it to my buddy at the gun shop, and I'd be like, I swear to I think he made this about us. Dude.
So the whole thing is it's a caricature. I was an instructor for 10 years, and when I first got into a point where I was instructing like small team, small arms stuff, and CQB, that was who I was.
Yeah.
I literally was that guy. And if I had a few humbling experiences, if you're not able to step back, from that and kind of look at yourself and like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I'm a silly goose.
I was a douchebag. And so to step back from that, so it's me making fun of myself, but also making fun of a lot of the people that I've worked with or that I've known over the years, because they're all douchebags too.
It was great though, because like it showed me like it was like looking in a mirror.
Some of them still are.
No.
You know who you are.
Hey, no,
Tim.
for reals. Everyone in the gun community, in the 2A community, needs to just take a breath and relax.
Take a breath.
You guys need to relax.
But like I swear to God, like I made a video one day where I was like being very serious, and like everything that I said in the video, like I was very serious about it, and I swear to God, it was like 3 days later. You made a video where you were like making fun of exactly the same point I had made.
Hey, my bad, dog.
No, but it was good because like I realized like it was like looking in a mirror, like, okay, like if you're in my concealed carry class and like I'm giving you this class, like this is the take you're taking.
This is how I look.
Yeah, it made me better as an instructor, and it made me better as a content creator.
That'll be $7.
Pay up.
But
Chinese
no, so
restaurant.
there's so much that you can do with social media. And honestly, I think that for this being my creative outlet, just making fun of people, it's something that I've gotten really good at, and it's fun to do.
You are phenomenally
We're
good.
making fun. We're creating fun.
I
So
still feel like you were making fun of me personally.
I was.
I feel like that's something kind of like that's slightly getting lost today is the ability to just make fun of each other and just be like, that was good. That's good.
It's I like that.
You got me.
In the firearms instruction space, that's
Iron
the problem
sharpens
with it, is like no one can be like fun. There's all these dumb arguments about nothing and like
right. Like
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I remember I was talking about this one video. It got showed to me. It was about a guy, and he was like, "So when you can't get to your gun, that's why you have a knife right here, and you can pull it up, and you can do this." And I made fun of it, right? And people in the comments were like, "Do you know who he is?" And I'm like, I don't care.
No one cares. Yeah. I had a conversation in my stream the other night, and they were talking about CQB. And
CQB is like the number one like hot topic.
CQB,
like, dude. Like
everyone talks about CQB, and I will never. My goal with doing content is to never get on the internet and say, "Well, I've done this. Look what I've done." Right.
Yeah,
now,
gross.
With that being said, I have been shot at, right? I have been shot at real world CQB, and I told the guys in the chat, I said, "There's nothing more terrifying than stacking up on a door where someone on the other side, you don't know what they have.
And they're ready to kill you.
And they're ready to kill you.
Dude, they could have a Beretta 32.
And so a lot of guys like, oh, you just have to make sure you hit the hard edge, the corners. And I'm like, no, there's nothing more terrifying than doing that. But when you do it and you do it over and over again, you develop your practices. Those practices for that mission don't always translate to every other mission. So there's no standard. There's no one simple standard. And so, because they were arguing with each other in the chat, and I'm like, look, they're talking about home defense. Look,
why are you doing CQB in your house?
I'm not doing that's just it.
Like, if I come home and my front door's open, I'm just going back to my car.
I am not.
Unless your family's in there.
Yeah, my family's with me.
That happened to me once. I left the house and the alarm went off. I get a call. I come back and the door's open. I called the sheriff's office. I was like, hey.
Oh, I'm good here. I have an ambush point.
my door's open. You guys can clear them. I don't mind. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, go in, please.
And
it's your job now.
I live in the country, so it was only one deputy that showed up, and it was someone I knew, so we actually cleared the house.
You immediately, Frank. You're like, all right, you 10 point, I'll be behind you.
It wasn't like super tactical. It was
you weren't punching out and going to work?
Like, hello?
Watch 1990s Cops.
Oh my God.
That's what CQB is. They're in a single wide trailer. There's 5 of them stacked up on each other, and they're trying to find a dude with a butcher's knife. Like,
I don't take myself too seriously, and I think that a lot of the people who do, and they get on the internet and they go down, they tell you their resume in every single video. I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid.
Who are you talking about?
It
seems like you're talking
all
about
of them. Every last one of them.
Well, it's something that you learn in the martial arts community as well. It's the people who are more experienced, they fight the least.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've had a lot of people, like, whenever it comes up in conversation, I don't share it a lot.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, you're a black belt. How many fights you been in?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, none. Barely any. Maybe one or two.
I will avoid a fight at all costs.
Yeah.
When you see actual violence and you realize like what you're capable of with actual violence, you realize that like you want to avoid it
at all costs.
At all costs.
Yeah.
And not on the grounds of like I might get hurt. It's like I don't want to do this thing to you.
Right.
Like you cutting me off in traffic, you saying something smart in a grocery store, like I'm going here with it. You think I'm going here with, like, I just want to avoid whatever this is at all costs.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and then not only that, but especially, I've seen guys like riding around with their kids, like going off, like behind the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it. Think about the societal effects. Now you have a kid that they see this example of what they should be doing and they can't control their emotions.
Yep.
Now you got a bunch of emotional kids running around that can't control their emotions, taking knives to school.
They can't read and write anymore.
Whoops. Whoopsies.
No, we had a kid. There was a kid up in Virginia that was stabbed, I think, yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Dude, Virginia's falling apart, man.
Oh, it's done.
I'm so proud.
I'm pretty sure the world's falling apart right now.
I'm like
we
proud
gotta
to
piece
be.
it back together.
No, but like the area, like the land that I own, we're good. But everything outside of that, not so much.
You're in Northern Virginia too, which
No,
is
not quite.
Lost, not quite.
He's in an undisclosed location.
Yeah, I was about to say like where are you from, but
My shirts all say Fredericksburg, Virginia.
yeah. Once you get up,
Why are you laughing? Don't laugh at that.
because you know I'm laughing at that. You're from Fredericksburg.
I'm not from Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg in West Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Here he goes again, hating on other people, other Southerners.
Well, in my defense,
Fredericksburg doesn't count.
In my defense, I grew up in Maryland, so I kind of upgraded because Maryland. I don't know what's going on right now. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, Maryland fell apart.
Yeah.
Baltimore went, and then like the rest of Maryland went.
Yeah.
Maryland
Like,
is
the inner shore
asleep
fell
on
apart.
top of Virginia.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Literally.
So how many kids do you have? Can you say that? Okay. And you're homeschooling them, all of them? And what was the decision making to go into that?
Was it just the
Baltimore wants
disgusting?
No, I mean like
Disgusting
more
of the
conceptually.
system.
What,
So
as
we
a
had-
father, as
yeah.
a, you know.
We had the
what do
kids
you-
enrolled in a private school. My wife, she grew up, she went to a private Christian school. I went to public school. You guys can probably tell. I'm not the smartest guy. But we had the kids enrolled in a Christian school. And my oldest daughter, her personality started changing. Like she used to be this bubbly kid who would talk to anybody. She could make a friend anywhere we went, to where she was more kind of reserved and kind of shutting in. She didn't want to volunteer. Like we did like programs, like they had the run club where you go to the school in the morning and the kids, you know, you get a certificate for running a mile a day for however long.
Sure.
And she was kind of withdrawn from all of that. And so one day, I think I had gone to the school for show and tell. I was bringing our dog at the time, R.I.P. Oliver. I was bringing Oliver to school for show and tell.
Yeah.
And I got there a little early. They were still having recess. And all the kids were playing together. And my kid was like sitting by herself, like reading a book. And so I asked her, I was like, baby girl, I was like, what are you doing? Like, why, you know, it's recess. It's time to run around and play with your friends. She was like, well, they always make fun of me. They always make fun of my hair. And so my kid, a little raisin in a bowl of rice, you know what I'm saying? And
Can you elaborate? I don't understand.
so I noticed that at a young age, girls become very catty.
Oh, they're super mean.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
I never
super
knew
mean,
that.
dude.
I never knew that. And so to watch how they were interacting with my daughter, I was like, so that was the first, you know, sign. And then, so then once COVID came around, somehow my wife got pregnant again. I don't know. I don't know how that happened.
It just happens.
Yeah.
It's something in the air, I think. It's like pollen.
I tore my ACL in 2018. I was home for like 7 months. So somehow within there,
We have a super similar. I like
Yeah.
threw my back
I want to
out
say a
super
joke,
bad.
but it's not appropriate, so I'm just going to hold it.
we'll talk later.
No.
So then once the little one's born,
away.
my wife was like, hey, I'm not going back to work.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I've worked my whole life for you to be a stay-at-home mom. You know, stay at home. We can make it work. And so once she decided to stay home, then COVID hit and the kids, we switched over to homeschool anyway because the public school curriculum was trash.
Dude, it was trash.
So we started homeschool during COVID. And then from that, it's only grown. So now that my oldest one's in high school, the middle one's in middle school, the youngest one is in is she in first grade? She's 5. So she's wherever 5-year-olds go. We switched over to do Liberty University online, their homeschool program, because now my high schooler is dual enrolled where she can take college courses.
That's awesome.
And graduate high school with an associate's degree.
Props to your wife, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
that's a
My
big
mom
lift.
did that for all of me and my brothers. We were all homeschooled.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that's awesome.
it gives them so much more because now, you know, they do self-paced and, you know, the older two, they can get behind here and there, but it shows in that responsibility and the accountability. I always preach accountability and integrity because don't lie about your schoolwork because we're going to see it. We're going to get an email and then, you know, make sure we hold them accountable by making sure, you know, tracking their assignments and everything. And it's just been a blessing, man. And watching my kids grow and even now doing all the extra programs they do, doing this, you know, audition to join the theater company. And they're very social kids. And we make sure that, you know, we're investing in that because some homeschoolers are very socially
That was
awkward.
always the old stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Is that they don't know how to socialize.
But homeschoolers, from the ones that I grew up with, they were all smart. They all, you know, they all end up going to college, living normal lives. And, you know, but as kids, you just never saw them at the bowling alley or the skating rink, you know?
Yeah, you just thought they were weird because you didn't know who they were.
Bunch of nerds.
But education's like a personal thing. I feel like that got lost in the public system is that like we all hit the same benchmarks, but like education's a personal thing. You should continue to educate yourself your entire life.
Well, it's just, it's a crazy idea.
So fun.
That's why I hate watching TV. I'm constantly it's just
I don't watch
YouTube
TV.
education of some sort.
I don't watch TV.
It's just a crazy idea. Hey, let's lock all these hormonal kids together in one room with underpaid people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention the vaccine schedule from 2013 to 2019
Dude, exploded.
more than doubled.
Exploded.
Really?
Yeah.
More than doubled. When I
After
saw
show topic.
when I saw the schedule when my youngest one was born, I told my wife, I was like, we're not doing any of these.
Yeah.
She was like, none of them? I was like, none of them. That kid has 0 vaccines in her body. 0, none. And
How is she not exploded?
Seriously.
she
Just
initially
didn't internally combust.
she kind of
My God, man. It's a medical miracle.
she had a speech delay, but outside of that, she's perfectly fine.
Has she caught up with her speech?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Wow,
And
crazy.
she's got 2 big sisters, and her sisters are the ones that she, follows around and she does everything with. So, it's all the stuff that's going on between public school and the vaccines, the forced vaccines, and all the stuff that they're putting into the kids. During COVID, when we were homeschooling, we could get public school lunches because our taxes go towards public schools. So we get these lunches, and they're just full. It's literally dye, preservatives, and sugar.
This sounds like an after show conversation.
I'm just saying,
We can go on.
we went off. We didn't go off the deep end, but I was at a point where, at my heaviest, I was 215 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, I looked at a picture of myself from just before my youngest kid was born 5 years ago.
Is that when you're
And well, I was lifting. I was bodybuilding and powerlifting. I did all that. I had a fitness Instagram with 1,000 followers. I thought I was,
Hell yeah, dude.
I thought I was doing it big, but the fitness community, they're all degenerates. Well, a majority of them, it's
a large majority. Yeah.
and so, so I got out of that. But then once I started looking at my diet, and my wife, she's got some dietary restrictions. And once I kind of adopted that, and literally just started, I'll go out for my lunch break and I'll walk 2 miles. That's literally like the extent of it. Sometimes I get up in the morning and run, but I'll walk 2 miles on my lunch break.
That's how you started?
That's how I started. And now I'm at a point where I'm consistently in the 170s, and my joint pain gone.
Dude, how many Americans do you think
that's-
have the ability to walk 2 miles? If their car
Not
broke
many.
down and there was 2 miles away from a gas station, they would just sit in their car.
Yeah.
My
wouldn't even try.
My buddy that I'm coaching softball with, he's lost 100 pounds in 2 years.
Just by walking.
Just by exercise and eating right.
Yeah, just no more soda.
Yeah.
And then be
I've
moderately
completely gotten rid. Well, not completely, but snacks. It's if you're focused on, if you're eating snacks throughout the day, which it's easy as a content creator to sit at a computer and eat
Beefcake
snacks.
jerky.
It's not a snack. It's a healthy.
It's a meal.
It's so good.
I mean, it's
It's a dietary supplement. But
it's pretty clean.
if
It's very
I
clean.
go throughout the week, and where I work, there's a DFAC. So for $3 a day, I can get potatoes and a chicken breast
There you go.
Oh,
man. There you
dude.
go. That's
And
insane.
solid.
$3.
for $3.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so to be able to do that, I can focus and say, all right, I'm not going to snack while I'm at work. I've also incorporated fasting because I think that that's a great way to
It's
kind of.
super.
When's your
important.
first meal?
What do you mean throughout the day?
Yeah.
It's got to be afternoon. So what I'll do is my lunch break, I might have a cup of coffee in the morning. And then my lunch break, I'll walk my 2 miles before I eat anything. I got to do the simulated hunt.
Yeah.
What's the guy? Liver King. Got to do the simulated hunt.
Oh my god. Dude, quick side note: did you see that Netflix is releasing like a documentary about him?
No, I did not see
It's
that.
about the Liver King.
Really?
It's rise and fall.
Well, I'll do my 2 miles, and then I'll have a small portion of potatoes and a chicken breast, and then at the end of the day, whatever we've got at the house.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I try to make sure that I have at least one solid meal a day, and if I am snacking, I've been big on cashews, dates. I stay away from sunflower seeds because of the sodium and everything else. But
I gave my wife a kidney stone.
mangoes, get you some dried
Dude,
mangoes.
mangoes are so bomb.
Yeah,
So
mangoes.
good.
And the good thing about mangoes and like sweet potatoes is that they're dog treats as well. You can give them to your dog, and my dog will sit out on the porch. And that's
Just
the other thing
back
is,
and forth.
is getting outside.
Yeah.
You know, my wife, a big part of her, being able to have energy throughout the day. I set up a seating area in our yard. Well, it's right by my garden, which it's tripled in size.
Nice.
But we'll go outside, and my kids, everybody outside, and in the summertime, shoes, no shoes, it doesn't matter. Just get out,
Yeah.
and they'll go
Put
outside,
your toes in the dirt.
and they'll run around with the dog, or they'll run around and watch the squirrels decimate my tomatoes. But that's a huge part of it. Get outside, get the sun. You know what I mean? And it just, I've always heard that, and I thought that was all hippie like that. Okay, that's stupid.
Yeah.
brother, it works.
No,
Bro.
we weren't designed to live like this, man.
No.
Yeah.
This wasn't the way that we were put together.
I was not designed to wear clothes. Get this shirt off of me.
I came out naked.
That's right.
I want to be naked.
I want to be naked.
The after show is shirtless.
That's what I do with mine. Like on our regular, they call them home days when they're not going to school, weekends, other days, whatever. But I'll have them get up. They play a little bit in the morning.
Yeah.
Then I'll have them do a little bit of chores. Make sure everything's kind of buttoned up, and then I'll kick them out of the house. I'll go outside.
Yep.
Go outside.
I did that to my kid yesterday.
Yeah.
She came home. My wife, they were out running errands. She came home and she goes and grabs her iPad. And she's funny because she puts a blanket over her head when she watches her iPad. And all you hear is cartoons from under a blanket. Well, now she's smart. She puts her headphones in.
Nice.
And I see her putting her headphones in. I was like, nope, put it down. Get outside.
Yeah.
Go
And so she goes outside and no shoes. She just goes and sits in the driveway. She's just sitting out there just like looking. And you can like just see her like thinking. And she'll look and she'll see a bird and she'll start singing a song or start talking to her. And I'm just watching her. And this kid is like, it's
beautiful.
She's got a movie playing in her
That's
head.
still
and
so
she's out there
awesome.
having a ball.
She doesn't need to be running around. Like
She was by herself.
That's
By herself,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. It's something that's another thing that's kind of getting lost with our culture is it's like, here, take this iPad. I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
And it's
You
like,
have an issue with it? Here's some drugs.
Yeah.
it started with the, well, I know they're not good, but the McDonald's fries, it just gets them to stop crying.
Yeah.
Right.
It started with that.
with ADHD medicine.
it
when they
did.
were like, hey, we locked 35 5-year-olds in this room.
And they don't want to sit still.
They don't want to listen to me for
They
8
want to go
hours.
outside
It's
and
like,
play for some reason.
I was legitimately diagnosed with ADHD.
I think
too.
all little boys are.
And they told my mom, well, back then, retarded wasn't a slander. It wasn't to slander.
was-
They told my mom that I was retarded.
It was a medical term.
yeah. Which I kind of am a little bit sometimes.
Aren't we all? It's a spectrum, my
mom,
brother.
yeah, my mom said that she refused to medicate me. She refused.
My mom said the same thing.
And I made it through high school.
Yep.
Made it through some college. Obviously got
yeah,
a career and able to I'm not flourishing, I'm surviving, but obviously able to make it to a point where I'm married with kids. I bought a house. I got a little bit of land. I shoot guns sometimes. So I'm not a complete failure. Yeah. I never was prescribed anything, or I never actually took anything. Any of the stuff they were prescribing, I never took it. Mm-hmm. And so a part of me is like, how would I be? How would my disposition be had I been prescribed?
Had you been given meth at 7 years old?
Well, it's like, what is it doing to the brain chemistry of our children
Dude,
when
it's
we're
eating
just
them alive.
pumping them full?
Yeah, and then you're putting together all of your neural connections and how you survive.
And then you're
with
dumping
all
pounds of sugar on
with
top of
all
that.
of that
Yeah.
dumped in.
It's like, hey, you guys can't smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol till you're 21 because your frontal lobe.
yeah, but here's
How
the
about some antidepressants?
We'll give you hormone blockers
And Ritalin.
amphetamine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
I think ADHD, like whatever ADHD like actually means, like outside of like this weird medical like
You
world.
mean just an active
I think it's
brain?
a superpower. I think it's the ability to like
Yeah.
focus on multiple different things at the same time, build task lists. Like,
Well, that's what it is.
all this
It's
stuff.
once I learned that it was over focus. So right now, even in my mind, I'm thinking of what's next. What are we doing next?
Yeah,
but also
to-do list. That you
I'm thinking about what do I have going on at home. I got to make sure. Wait, what time are we looking at? Okay,
Right.
we're good.
Yeah.
So I have to really. There's a lot that's going on, and I can't keep up with it. But I try to keep up with it, and then I write it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why,
And-
dude, notebooks.
I'm showing you
I'm
my
trying to
notebook.
transition into like.
I can't do it on my
notes
phone.
On my phone.
I can't do it.
But like, I still, it's like the army in me, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I need my little like
You
green
carry a
reader's
little
book and,
notepad
like,
with
Yeah, I have one in my bag right now.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, I transitioned to the phone, but it same thing. I mean, I keep a list of everything. My wife makes fun of me. She says, Lister's got a list.
Yeah.
So I got a list for
We
everything.
have a dry
I got a
erase
list and a
calendar.
spreadsheet for everything.
We have a dry erase calendar on our refrigerator. And if we don't have that, I can go there. That's the command center. Okay. My wife and kids, they're doing a Florida trip next week. They leave on Monday. I have my thing in DC on Saturday.
You can see that board right
It's
now, can't you?
Oh, I'm looking at it. Dude, my stuff is written in green.
superpower, man.
My stuff is written in green. My daughters, they'll write in red or pink or purple. My wife usually writes in purple.
Yeah.
But I can literally see the calendar, and it helps me.
Yes. It's
It
huge.
helps.
Was it Rockefeller that said that? There was someone that said like, if you want to be successful, make lists.
That's probably, in How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Maybe.
I think that was one of Rockefeller's sons.
Which is interesting that like, the Industrial Revolution happened without public education.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild that a bunch of homeschool kids built America.
Don't talk about
Crazy.
it. Don't talk about it.
They weren't really a homeschool. It was more like, hey, kid, you got a job now. Congrats, you can walk, go to work.
Get to it.
It's really fascinating, like as technology, the medical system, school progresses, like how much we forget about the old ways of things.
Well,
like
people think that
pyramids.
100 years ago people were stupid.
right.
That's
Yes.
not the case.
Honestly, they were smarter than us.
You're not smarter because you have an iPhone.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have access to information, but 100 years ago, imagine this. You had to do your taxes like with one of those little calculators that had the little paper attached to
Great
it.
grandpa had to remember all of his skills.
Dude, it's-
I can look them up anytime I need them.
Dude, take a survival class. I
Right.
took a survival class once, and the guy was like, everything that you'll learn here over the next week is what a 9-year-old kid could do in 1867 or whatever.
Yep.
Like,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he could just be on planet Earth and feed himself, clothe himself,
Yep.
warm himself, survive.
Hey, build a fire.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
don't even know how to, like, if New York City lost power tomorrow, how many people just die?
Right.
They've done
you know?
game theory tests on that, and I think I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's
gotta
a
be bad.
staggering amount.
The rats are gonna flourish.
There
It would
was
just be
a
people,
loss
like,
if there was a
opening the
loss of
fridge.
power for 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
There's some staggering number
Yeah.
where all these people would die.
They just can't, because it's the loss of power also means like there's no water. So like, what do you do now? Like, how many people just go over and like drink out of the bay?
Right, you have to boil it and
Yeah, like-
filter it. Yeah.
Yeah, but how many people even know to do that?
Yeah.
Dude, it seems like a surprisingly few amount of people understand like what being human is.
Well, you don't need to think about it.
Yeah.
I wake up, I go to job, I come home, I watch Netflix.
Yeah. I have 401k, I microwave my food, and I'm confused on what gender I am.
I don't even need to pull out for my 401k. I just write a number and they
Things that-
take it out for me.
that's- It's literally a mark of like how broken our society is like we've gotten to a point that's so comfortable that you can literally sit at home and be like, I don't even know if I'm a man.
Yeah.
But
It's
What
crazy.
am I?
What a country.
yeah, what am I? What am I? What do these nuts do?
Am I a pan?
Have you seen the Cat Williams skit about the tiger?
No.
Probably.
We'll
I
have to-
love Cat Williams so much.
Well, I have to show you that one. I saw that.
That one when he gets beat up by that 15-year-old.
That one came up on my timeline, and the whole idea of him when he was like, "Am I even a tiger?" Like the tigers questioning themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's that's. I don't think he realized how powerful that is because there's a lot of people who don't like who they are, and then they question it. Oh, well, I might be different because I don't like who I am. I had a conversation with my 15-year-old about.
You don't like who you are because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I had a conversation with my 15-year-old about makeup. I told her, I said, people wear makeup, and I'm always clear that I say people because she's seen a bunch of dudes running around with makeup on.
Thank you, Jeffree Star.
People wear makeup because they don't like the way they look.
Right.
They don't like the way they look, so they add stuff to change the way they look. That if anyone says, "Oh, I wear it for me," no, you don't.
No, you don't.
Because you don't wear it when you're at the house by yourself.
No, you don't.
You wear it before you go out. Do you put it on before you go out or put it on before you go home? You know what I mean? So I told her, I said, people don't like the way they look. And I told her because my wife doesn't wear makeup. She might wear it for like a wedding or for an event or something, but we don't do makeup in our house. And so when my older kid starts asking me about it, I'm like, well, why? What reason would you have to wear makeup? And if she says, oh, well, for a dance competition or for a theater play, okay, but would you wear makeup to like church on a Sunday? No, exactly. That's the mindset. We're teaching our young kids, specifically our girls, that in society is telling them that they're not good enough. And if they're not told that they are good enough at home, then they just go out there to the wild and they literally just end up with blue hair yelling at their phones on the internet, you know? And it just...
That completely ignores like facial injections and fillers and like not talking about like Botox.
I just learned about all that stuff.
Dude, you can completely reshape like the face. And then have you seen those YouTube tutorials where they do
The contour.
The contour lines?
Yeah. I was trying to figure out how to contour to make my nose smaller.
It's getting to a whole nother level. It's past contour, guys. They're now getting stick-ons where you can stick it onto your face and
change?
pull your face in different directions to make it look different.
Dude.
So weird.
What does that do long term for like just basic biology?
Well,
you know?
I think this kind of falls into a little bit
Like,
of
do
like
you
the
reject your
C-section.
kids because you're like, that doesn't look like
Yeah.
Right. I think this falls into kind of that C-section talk. It's like how many C-sections, how many generations of C-section before female hips don't actually allow birth?
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that was. I
didn't even think
so
about
me
that.
and my wife joke about that all the time because my mother had 4 C-sections. She was this small Slavic woman, had 4 kids from, had to have C-sections for all of them. And once you have one, you kind of need to have other ones.
Generally, yeah.
And look, I'm so thankful that that's a process that we have available.
Western medicine has
medically.
saved thousands
It's a miracle.
of lives.
Like I'm alive because of that. My sister-in-law, her children are alive because of that. But me and my wife joke because I always go, oh, you got them baby making hips.
Hell yeah.
And she had all of our kids naturally. And that's a question that it's come through my mind several times just in terms of, and when you start having children, you start to think about your bloodline. You start to think about your offspring going out into the world and how are they going to be successful, both like in order to procreate, but as an individual, and what are they going to contribute and all that stuff. And all that stuff starts going through your head when and I'm sure you're thinking about it right now because you're about to
I'd
have
be
a
thinking
kid.
about generics.
Yeah, no one's got a kid in mind.
Generics, your genes and stuff.
What, like 2 weeks?
One of the yeah.
Yeah, he's got his first
At
coming in
most.
like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Baby
right.
boy coming, dude.
He hasn't
Yeah.
he hasn't been rocked yet. He thinks he's been rocked. He thinks he gets it, but he hasn't been rocked yet.
I haven't been
Hasn't
punched
had
in the
that
face.
little-
Everything you think you know.
I know nothing.
You know nothing.
He hasn't
I
had
know
that little
nothing.
thing
You know
look at him and go,
nothing,
I
Jon
love
Snow.
you.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Listen, my oldest is 15 years old. I still know nothing. I get a curveball every
Constantly
day.
learning.
You have
Yeah.
3 daughters.
Yeah.
That you'll never know anything, dude. Daughters are
Yeah. Daughters are
awesome.
awesome.
Difficult, man.
Daughters are awesome.
I'm
I will
so
say
glad I'm a girl dad.
It is
Like,
it is the most rewarding and difficult job I've ever had
Yes.
to be a girl dad because when we were pregnant with the third one, and every time we went to church, like the people at church would be like, is it a boy or a girl? And I tell them it's a girl. They would say, oh, you got to try for a boy. You have to have a boy. Or I'd say girl, and they'd give me that reaction.
Yeah.
Well, my oldest daughter would see that. And she's like, Daddy, why doesn't anybody like girls?
Yeah.
oh dang, really?
Yeah, and
That's rough, dude.
it broke my heart because I'm like, oh,
I would have
man.
looked at her and been like, 'cause y'all are difficult. Y'all are difficult.
I can say that now. I can say that now, but I didn't even think about it,
But to like a
about her
5-year-old?
perception of it.
Yes.
And so now it's like, okay, I have this little emotional person that I need to teach, about life and show them. I need to show them how I love their mother and that I'll do anything for her, but also that mom loves me and that she'll do anything for me, and show them and be the example. And it's been so rewarding because my daughter, like, we'll have the deepest conversations now, and she's so much like me that we'll sit there and she'll ask me, she'll bring up 9/11, and I'm like,
And now
don't get me started.
Then you just go, now watch this drive.
And I'm like, do you really want to? And so she asked me about a lot of the history and a lot of the stuff that I talk about and when I'm streaming. So my kids stay off camera. I am not.
Good call.
I do not agree with putting your children on the internet. Like I'm not saying that, if you do it, you're a bad person. I don't think that. But for me and for how my family's set up, my wife doesn't want to be in front of the camera. My kids don't want to be in front of the camera. I honor that. So she'll come in and she'll sit down on the floor, and my stream, when I'm talking to the chat, everything stops when my daughter comes in.
Yep.
Because these guys
Family
are
first.
These guys are cool, but I love this little American I got sitting in the floor of my office.
Yeah.
So they see that. And so it's almost like they play into it because they'll hear the conversation we're having, because she'll talk about something that one of her friends said, because her friends are all stupid teenage girls. And she's like, Daddy, I don't understand why these other girls are so focused on boys and blah, blah, blah. And I say, well, the reason is because they don't have dads that are going to stand up for them and tell them and show them what a real man is. And we have these conversations while streaming.
That's awesome.
And it's funny because my chat will just be mercilessly roasting me. And now they're like, like just praising her.
Yeah.
And so when she'll look over at the screen, she'll see like, they're like giving her all these kudos and props for coming down here to talk to me. But I have a teenager that wants to hang out with her dad. That
That's so
enjoys
cool,
hanging
dude.
out with her dad.
Yeah.
How many people can say that?
One of the most
Not-
impactful things to ever be said to me, like in my life, was the idea that my daughter would accept a man who was what I am.
Yep.
Like the standard that I keep is the standard that she will accept in her life.
Yeah.
And like the moment that I understood that when she was very little, it drove like I have a level of anxiety that I can't seem to shake off because like I have to live up to like what I want her to be with.
Yeah.
And like I'm not there yet. So like every day I'm trying to figure out how to be like enough of a man for her.
We're all not there
It's
yet.
like having girls, man. Like I think being a girl dad is the greatest blessing.
It's tough. It's tough. And honestly, I don't know. I can't, I can't even think of how I'd act if I had a son because I've just never been in that position.
You just smack him and tell him to stop crying.
I'll let you know. I'm about to figure it out.
But
I'm so glad I don't have
with
boys.
girls, my kids, they're just such different personalities, and the fact that they love being outside, and when we go over to the farm and we're rounding up the chickens and the goats, and they don't mind it. They like being outside. My oldest one, she likes to fight. She was interested in learning how to fight, so they did taekwondo, and they've done all these things that historically girls wouldn't necessarily do, but because things are a little different now, they're able to do these things. And now my daughters are comfortable telling me when they like boys, when there's boys that they're attracted to.
Good.
And that for me,
Yeah.
my middle kid, she came to the table I was sitting at the dining room table, and she was like, "Daddy, I have to tell you something." I was like, "What'd you break?" She was like, "Nothing, but I think I'm in love." And I'm like,
That's so cute.
she was like
dude.
7 years old. And so I said, and whenever they come to me and they say things like that, my oldest daughter, she told me about a boy that she liked. Well, why do you like him? What are the positives about him? And so I really make sure that, hey, I can have these conversations. And I'm not the dad that's like, no, we're gonna shut it down. You don't like no boys.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna be no boys in this house. No, you can't completely shut them down. You still have to talk.
No, they're
to them.
humans.
And what that does is that kind of trains that mindset of, well, wait, why do I like this person?
Yeah.
Why am I attracted to this person? And that builds the thought process. And it just, dude, watching it and watching how it's kind of taken on a life of its own, it's awesome. It is awesome.
Anytime because my daughter is like boy crazy. She's always been that way.
Yeah.
Anytime she comes to me, which also like, I think it's the biggest compliment as a dad that like your kid, as they get older, they still talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like my kid might've like been obnoxious in the text the other day, but like she's just being, who she talks with me, But like anytime she brings a boy to me, she always wants like my approval. And I have one question every time. I ask, what does his daddy do? Every time.
See,
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I'm similar to that because I'll ask.
Does he own the mines?
It's like, if your daddy's a drug dealer, like some shit.
I ask if the kid has a father in the home.
Yep. What does his daddy do?
Yeah.
And if she's like, I don't know, I'm like, man, he ain't.
Yeah.
And if he's not talking,
That boy ain't got no daddy.
yeah, nope. What does his daddy do?
Hey, y'all, he ain't got no daddy. Get him out of here.
He never came back from milk.
He over here being fatherless.
I want her to understand the idea of like the example that got set for him is the example that he will live up to.
Exactly.
So like, what does his daddy do?
Yeah.
Like, what are you aiming at in your life?
Yeah. That's huge. That's
Excellent.
huge. You'll see. You'll learn.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah. What do you do?
I don't know. I don't know.
teaching
I
me
have anxiety
karate.
attacks on Da Vinci.
Do you know I know karate?
He's teaching me karate.
That's true. I am
go.
teaching him
This is the
karate.
first episode we have like hardcore gotten into the jerky.
That's
Dude,
good.
It's really good.
Got real hungry.
I've also been up since 2 a.m. So
Yeah.
Why'd you do that? Someone get you an early flight?
I'm an idiot.
Hey, he scheduled his own flight, okay?
Do we want to get into one segment here? Or
Yes.
Do we want to? Okay. All right. So to wrap this up, we'll do. What do you got? No.
Doctor, I feel like we've been on a good track.
Yeah.
And so we would like to introduce you to the segment. Please be patient. My dad
dad.
is dead. So, please be patient. My dad is dead. You guys
your dad
already
dead?
know.
No.
What does your daddy do?
He works for the government.
Hell yeah,
Oh, no.
brother. So, please be patient. My dad is dead is a segment sharing fatherly advice for those who may not have fathers.
Yep.
So, just like,
Do I have to hold this the whole time?
no.
That's just a
Yes, give it back to him. If
I'm
you
gonna
ha-
screenshot that and send it to my dad.
Right. It's kind of like one of the things. It's kind of like one of the things that you could share with the younger you. You know, it's like, hey, here's this little nugget.
Yeah, because I've always heard, well, that's easy for you to say. You had a father,
Yeah.
and you had a father who was present. But I think there's more to it than that. And
Yeah, but
you
I
had a
there's
dad who
advice-
loved you and hugged
I think
you.
there's advice
kissed you,
that
maybe
we can give to
petted
people
your hair.
who
Yeah.
have maybe they have a father present,
Well,
maybe
I
they
grew up
don't.
without my dad. Like I said, he lives on the West Coast. He now that I think of it,
Is your dad dead?
He didn't take
No.
his ACL.
I was born in September. He moved to California the prior February.
There you go. Yep. 7 months, 9 months.
He got the notification and was like, "These knees work."
That's a long milk trip.
Pops, what's up? No, he moved out there. He moved out to California, and he was prior Air Force, so he took a job out there at doing stuff. So,
Yeah.
but
That's like the first racial joke that we've had this entire time. I'm like,
no, it wasn't.
Was it?
No.
No, where have you been? Jeez,
Tackett just came back to planet Earth.
he lived in Virginia.
Yeah.
These Virginians.
Where are your f***ing Air Force ones? Like, what's up? Put them flip flops up.
Oh no.
You got that other
Chase, cut them
50%.
too. Cut them toes, dude.
It's okay. That shot's from here up.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
So my dad, we spent our summers going out to live with dad. We'd spend like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on what we had, and then we'd come home. And my dad, he didn't have a TV. He had an apartment. He had his bicycles. He's really big into cycling because he would ride his bike to work. Didn't have a dining room table. He had a couch and he had books. And he didn't have a TV. He said, every night for 1 hour, we're going to sit here and we're going to read. He said, I'll take y'all to the comic book store or the bookstore. You can pick one book. He said, but every night for 1 hour, we're going to sit here and we're going to read. And I was like, well, that's boring. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, who wants to read? I want to watch cartoons.
Yeah. So what we did every night for 1 hour, we sat there and we read. And after that hour, he'd say, all right, we're done reading. Boys in the garage. And I'm like, what are we? That's awesome. Why are we going in the garage? Fight Club.
For the Pepperbox exclusive. Boys in the garage.
Yeah. We had to do 100 reps of jump rope. He had an old boxing, like a leather boxing jump rope.
Oh, I love
He had
that.
to do 100 reps.
Your dad was hard as nails.
Yeah, and then my brother and I both had to do 10 pull-ups apiece on the roof trusses.
Yeah.
So we could share. My brother was better at jump rope because if you were doing your 100 reps and you got to 99 and you missed a rep, you had to start over.
Oh, no. He was hard as nails, dude.
We were out there. We were in Ridgecrest, California, in the desert. There's black widows in the garage, and we're out there.
Yeah, there are. They're
like,
huge.
Yeah,
They're huge.
El Grande.
And so what happened was my brother could take half of my jump rope, so he would add an extra 50 reps to his, and I could take half of his pull-ups.
Interesting. So
And to this day, I do pull-ups almost every day.
Yeah.
All these years later, I do pull-ups almost every day. And then once you're done, because we did it with the garage door open, so all the brush and stuff would blow into the garage.
Yep.
You had to sweep the garage, make sure the floor is clean,
Should make Aiden do that.
and then close the door, and then it's bedtime.
Right.
And we did that every day. Every time I went out there, that's what we did.
So that consistency, that like having to do the hard thing, even though you don't want to, that built you up, gave you that confidence to do stuff later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, you guys were sitting, like, you were reading, so I'm sure that there were, like, conversations about what you read. Like, you found, like, an enjoyment in something that you didn't like, and then it just built a structure for your life.
Well, Dad was also, I don't want to say he's crazy, but Dad took out all of his Air Force
standards,
his Air Force memorabilia and all of the racist things that his platoon was saying to him, because he was one of the only black guys doing what he was doing.
Yep.
And he made us read it out loud.
Yep.
And these
Harden you up a
are words.
little bit.
These are words that
The world's hard.
at that time I never said. I remember watching my brother, who is literally a pastor right now, like read these things, and then he'd hand it to me, and I'd have to read, and I'm reading, and I'm saying it. He's like, say it out loud.
Yeah.
And what it showed me was that even though all these people were saying these things, when you zoom out, it's a certificate of completion for whatever mission or whatever task he had done.
Yeah.
And so even now, it's just like, it's kind of like, it's kind of weird looking back at it, but Dad really prepared me for a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he really realizes it, but Dad really, he set me up for success. So
It said
That's
the world's
awesome.
ugly and it's mean.
Yeah.
Like, but he taught you how to be kind and intelligent instead of just mean.
yeah.
You know?
From
He
what-
could have just taught you
yeah.
to be mean.
Yeah, from what I'm gathering, like, I'm not a dad yet. Technically I am, but like, I haven't
Jump
stepped.
rope, 3 years old.
Right. I haven't stepped into that fatherhood level yet.
It's just
but,
a
like,
fetus right now, right? Is that?
technically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't exist.
It's not a person.
It's not a person.
Some say it is. Some states say it's not.
I don't say anything about it, but it's kind of like, you know, like from my perspective, it's like you teach your daughter what she should look for, but you teach your son what he should be.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm gonna text my kid right now. This whole conversation got me all
Like, I love you.
I left my phone over there like a professional.
He's immediately
Yeah.
gonna try to
I thought it was no phone, so I was like, I'll just leave it over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I think on that note, we can wrap up the main episode. Kingsley, thank you, man. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it, yeah.
I wouldn't have turned this down.
Yeah, yeah.
Heck
on
yeah.
now.
Thanks for coming out here, getting up at 2 a.m. to be out here
It
with
was
us.
crazy because I woke up and I was like,
With your 37 delayed flights,
Yeah. 38 delayed flights.
4 cancellations, 4 crashes.
I was on the plane here and I was like, man, this is great. I'm gonna get in early. We're gonna grab some food. It's gonna be fantastic. Next thing I know,
We had brunch planned for you.
next thing you know, I'm eating an omelet at TGI Fridays in the terminal.
in the Dallas terminal.
That's what I'm fucking talking about, my boy.
Oh my
Dystopian
gosh.
concrete Dallas terminal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for watching Man versus Morning. And if you want to catch us on the after show exclusive to pepperbox.tv, jump on over there. You can start a 14-day free trial right now. And we've got a whole bunch of other episodes over there for you to enjoy. So thanks for watching. We hope you have a great day.
And wow, we're glad you came.